Hey everybody, this is Dr. Chanda, the Dope Black Doctor, and you are now tuning into the checkup with Dr. Chanda. Listen, today we have an amazing show lined up for you. Our show is titled The Pew and The Couch. Y'all, I promise you, you do not want to miss this. Grab your cousin, your auntie, your mom, your grandmom, everybody, because we're going to be tackling some really tough questions. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the checkup, it comes on every Friday at 3 o'clock p.m. And so you guys know how we start our conversations. I want to know how you're doing. So do me a favor. I want you to drop an emoji that represents how you're feeling in this very moment. So you can put a smiley face, you can put a crying emoji, you can use words, whatever it is that you need to do in order to depict how you're feeling right now. And you guys know me, you know, I am a strong advocate of emotional awareness and emotional identification. And this is just one of the strategies that we utilize to reinforce it. So go ahead and drop those emojis, drop those comments. Let me know how you are feeling. Come on, I want to see them. I want to see them. Let me know. In the meantime, I need y'all to share this live because this is a conversation that you do not want to miss. All right, y'all. So as you guys are commenting your emotions and letting me know how you feel, you guys know we often start with mental health trivia. Mental health trivia is our way of normalizing the conversations about psychology in the Black community. So if you're ready, I want you to listen to this question. Who was the first Black man to receive a PhD in psychology? So think about that question, and I want you to put it in the comment section below when you have the answer. Later on today, we're going to reveal to you the answer. And again, it is time for the checkup, y'all. So this is the last week of Black History Month, and I couldn't think of any other way to end the month other than paying homage to the Black church. It is no secret that the Black church often shapes Black culture. If you turn on the TV, you may see a car commercial with music by the Clark sisters. If you see a fast food commercial, you might hear gospel songs like Work It Out. And if you're a fan of R&B and good soul singers like Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, and my favorite, Brandy, you'll find that they started in the Black church. Even going back to the era of slavery, the Black church was established as a means of coping with hardships that our ancestors experienced. In fact, many slaves snuck near swamps in small groups, hung up wet towels to muffle the sound, and offered praises to God, which helped them to overcome hardship. So, y'all, today we are talking about the Black church and its role in mental health. So, while you guys are continuing to share, I want my panelists to come out and join me because I know they can offer some amazing things to this conversation. I love it. Welcome, y'all. This is your first time with me on Black.org.
What's going on, everybody?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only one excited. Listen, if y'all are excited, make sure you put that in the comment section too. But we're going to go through introductions because I want the audience to be familiar with you guys, your background, and what you offer in terms of mental health in the faith community. So we can start with Reverend Bryce, and then we can go on to Karina and then Jeff.
Oh, hi, how's everybody? Dr. Chanda, good to see you again.
Great to see you
As she
too.
said, my name is Reverend Bryce Jones. Grace and peace to everybody. I am the assistant pastor at a church named Millennium Bible Fellowship, and I also serve as the chaplain for the Black Mental Health Alliance in Baltimore, Maryland. I am a graduate of the Samuel DeWitt Proctor School of Theology. You got to say the whole thing like a Tribe Called Quest. So every chance I get, I let people know that it is VU, SCVU for me. And I am excited to be here with you all today.
Dope.
Yes, hello
Excellent.
everyone. So my name is Shania Karina and I am founder of Karina's Place. We are located here in Baltimore, Maryland, and Karina's Place solely focuses on creating safe spaces for people who deal with mental health on a day-to-day basis. So that can revolve around anything from events, in person, online, referring people to therapists, even helping you find a church home. So that is what we do.
Awesome.
Hey everyone. Hey everyone. My name is Jeff, here located in Richmond, Virginia. I am the founder of God Plus Therapy. God Plus Therapy is a place for that individual who is tired of hearing that word. Just pray about it. Just pray about that fear. Just pray about that doubt.
Yeah.
We are tired of hearing that word. God Plus Therapy says faith without works is dead. I'm definitely going more details about that later on. But faith without works is dead. That works is that therapy. Put that work to that faith. So welcome. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you guys.
Amazing. Listen, I couldn't think of any other panelists who would just add such knowledge and experience and their expertise to this conversation. I'm so grateful again for y'all being here with me. I do not take that for granted. So, y'all, most of y'all been on panels with me, and it's always been a vibe. So we're gonna bring that same vibe over to Black Doctor Org, okay?
Let's do it.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
So
Let's get on the
yes,
couch.
I'm ready. Are y'all ready?
I'm with it. Let's
I'm
do it.
ready.
Let's get it.
Period. Period. Okay. All right. So, first question. How can faith be a protective factor for individuals in the Black community? And how have you applied this to your own personal experiences?
Mm. Are we just
Wow.
popcorn it?
Popcorn.
Popcorn it.
Let's go.
So I saw the first thing that stuck out to me when that question was protective factors,
Yeah.
like known as positive reinforcements. Basically,
Mhm.
protective factors are protecting you against those factors that may include self-control, and that's what faith kind of does. It creates that space
Mhm.
to have self-control. It teaches you how to have that self-discipline, wisdom versus
Yes.
knowledge. The knowledge says I have this amount of money in my bank account. The wisdom says to be a good steward with that money. If I overspend it, I'm gonna be in the red. If I underspend it, and then I might not get what I actually need at that moment. So that's basically what the faith tells me. It's that wisdom versus knowledge, and it helps me create that self control.
I
If
love
I
that wisdom versus knowledge piece. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no. So I was just gonna say, if I could kind of piggyback and speak for myself, I know I'm probably the youngest one up here, but I know I've utilized it as how can I explain this? So losing my parents very young, I really didn't have any guidance. I didn't really have any family support or anything. So my faith has truly been what has taught me a lot of things. Okay. I didn't
Wow.
even know it was so much in the Bible that could teach me about my finances or, just my mental wellness and a lot more. So that's kind of how I have used it for self. So as a protective factor.
And
Yes.
also like the
Excellent. I love
coping
that.
skills.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Having those good coping skills,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
having something to rely on. I think even when we talk about in our community, the trauma that we get that is affected by so many people. Black trauma is not, just for, and I hate to make this correlation, but it happens to us all the time. They always correlate poor and black to be the same, but
Mm-hmm.
black trauma doesn't
Yeah.
know any socioeconomic status. It is, we all experience some type of trauma, and so also being able to have those coping skills and having your faith be one of those things that you can rely on, so that it's not just a warning, but a way for you to understand that I don't have to stay in this place, and I'm not, this is more than what has happened to me. It doesn't define who I am. But having those coping skills is always important for our people.
Mm-hmm.
Always, always. And you bring up a great point, Reverend Bryce, about having those faith-based coping strategies and how they can protect us from some of those adverse experiences that we have in life. Later on in the show, I want to touch more on that. You guys are saying some amazing things, and I'm trying to jot down notes as well. I want to go back to what Shania was saying about grief, right? So I know losing your parents at a very young age, that can be just traumatic in itself. And I'm wondering, like, if you can give us a specific example, because in the era of COVID, right? So many people in the Black community have died. So many people were lost, right? And so, I can imagine viewers at home who might be watching this and going through grief and trying to figure out how they can, persevere. Is there life after the death of my loved one? I want you to talk a little bit more about how you utilized your faith and how that served as that protective factor in those specific moments.
Sure. So for me, the grief didn't just end with like my parents. And
Mhm.
I think going into 2020 with COVID and everything like that, I think I'm a baby in Christ. I'm really starting to get into my Bible and like, oh my God, I'm changing my life. Here we go. I'm doing it, right? And Jeff
Love it.
kind of talked about this earlier with the whole faith without works is dead. So I can
Mhm.
be honest and say, coming into this year, I lost a friend to suicide. That's another grief. That's another loss. That's another trauma. And I
Yeah.
remember my therapist was telling me, like, okay, like, Shania, I can give you the tools, you know, like, you can come here every week and you can cry it out, but now it's time for you to do the work. But it was also like, okay, God, but now I need your strength so I can do this work so that I can become better. So I've always combined that. When he said it earlier, I was like, that's what I live by, like, faith without works, you know. So I know, I kind of put this right here, but so something that I do, like, I have a notepad. So, like, I'm all about finding, like, scenery and sitting in nature. And I know something that I've been battling with is, like, rejection. So I'll find scriptures in my Bible, because I just bought one, y'all. Okay. So
Love it.
I found scriptures in my Bible, like, on rejection, and I'll sit with it, and I'm literally telling God, like, look, this is what you see I'm struggling with. I did the same thing with grief, you know, finding different scriptures, and I'm writing, like, look, I've lost an ex-boyfriend, I've lost my mother, my father, my cousin, you know, and it's just like, okay, God, this is what I'm struggling with. Like, help me find this scripture, and then I take it back to my therapist, and we process it together. So that's kind of how I've utilized
Amazing.
both together.
That's amazing, you know, because, you know, you guys are familiar with this. Oftentimes in the Black community, we might hear like it's either faith or it's a therapist. It's either Jesus or it's a therapist. Like, we can't have both. And I'm a firm advocate that the two are not mutually exclusive. They can coexist. And I think your testimony is very important for that person who is at home listening to this. Reverend Bryce, you brought up a great point about Black trauma and how individuals in the Black community, how, you know, that can be traumatic in itself, being Black, living in America. I want you to talk a little bit more about how, again, faith can be a protective factor with that, like just that traumatic piece.
I think when we talk about it as a protective factor too, I think it's important to understand that when you're dealing with trauma, to also talk about the healing part that comes with it, right? Like, trauma is not the permanent thing. Whatever may have happened to us, we are more than that, but we also work to get beyond it, not to forget about it or dismiss it, but to work to get to a place of healing. And I think I said this in one of the panels that we were on together, is that there is a spiritual component to healing. You do not do it. I'll never forget one of my first jobs after college was I worked for the National Institute for Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. And there was a doctor who was on the panel, and he said, I don't care how many steps you have when it comes to addiction. This was for addiction, but it works in everything else. He said, unless the good Lord steps in and takes the taste of it out of your mouth. He was not a Christian. Please, I want everybody to hear this. He said, unless the good Lord, he didn't say the man upstairs, he didn't say the big guy. He said the good Lord removes it from you, you'll never get to a place of healing. And I was like, wow, here's somebody who has no frame of reference for God, no rationally compelling reason to go back to God, saying that the only way you get past it is you have to have a spiritual component to it. And so not just from a coping standpoint, but also from a place of healing, knowing that, yes, like you said, it's not mutually exclusive, that I have my therapist and I got Jesus and I can pray and I can go to somebody and talk through it. It doesn't mean that I have less faith because I went to my therapist twice this week. And it doesn't mean that I don't believe in talking it out because I also prayed about it. It means that whatever is necessary. I always tell people, you know, like, Jesus never wanted us to be an exclusive set of people. It was always about wholeness and wellness and relationship. And so when we get people to a place of understanding that they know that you're not less than because you go to a therapist, and you're not more saved because you don't. Right? And I think we have to get to that point as well, and not trying to belittle people for going to a therapist and thinking that we're better because all we do is pray.
100%, yo. Listen, y'all are dropping so many gems right now. Audience, I want you to put some fire emojis in the comments because they are spitting fire. Okay, listen. So I want to just harping on what Reverend Bryce was saying, and I said this before on the panel we were together, but we need to get back to that place of holistic healing, as you stated, right? So it's more than just going to a therapist, but, you know, if we want to go back to the roots of psychology wasn't just this medical model initially. That's what we moved into as it progressed throughout the centuries. But originally, you know, we thought of psychology and healing from a holistic perspective, including the spiritual aspect. So yes, you guys are doing amazing. I love this conversation. It's already a vibe. Listen, if y'all watching at home, I need you to share this live. Jeff, I have a question for you because you are my clinician brother. I love my shirt, God plus therapy. So I have a direct question. Okay. So NAMI recently published an article that discussed why Black churches need to be better with mental health issues and noted how mental health is at one point deemed as a lack of faith or a vice of the devil. How has this mentality plagued our community?
So the thing is, some people, and this, when I saw that question, when you sent that question to me, I was like, okay, people don't understand the difference between mental health and mental illnesses. And that's the problem right there. Once you're miseducated with what the difference is, then you're going to create your own myths. You're going to create your own assumptions. Then you're going to turn your back to it. Be honest with you, it's the reason we have social racism, because we just don't understand the other side. We have not taken time to sit down and just educate ourselves with each other. And then once we educate ourselves, we gain information. That information is going to gain inspiration. And so what the difference is, and I would like to tell people, the difference is the mental health is that social well-being, that coping skill, the coping mechanisms that you created. Mental illnesses are your diagnoses, your disorders, that the way people think, the way people feel, the way people behave, the way people interact with each other. Once we gain the understanding of the two, and understand what those two things are, I guarantee you that the viewpoint and the perspective on mental health and faith together will change. I really truly believe that churches will be more entitled to interact it into their day-to-day activities and things of that nature.
So good, Jeff. So good. What would y'all add to that?
So I was having our conference that my church is a part of. We had a check-in day before yesterday, I think it was. But I said to them, and so maybe this is a step beyond what the question is, but I think it'll make sense. I said the Black church was lacking for years talking about mental health. And to the very same point of your question about treating it as, people having less faith. Now, my fear is that our churches are almost fetishizing, like they've turned it into a buzzword. Sort of like when all churches were talking, like they changed their young adult ministries to the millennial ministries. And I was like, no, that's not a phase in the life cycle. That's a generation. Like my son doesn't become a millennial when he hits 18. He'll still be whatever that generation is. We don't become boomers when we hit 42, right? Like we can always be millennials. But it's become almost a fad now. And so my fear is that people are going to try to overcorrect. It's sort of like if your car starts to hydroplane, that people jerk the car back the other way to try to fix it, and then they end up doing more damage. And it's like, no, like you may have to drift into this a little bit and understand, like own what we did, own the things that we used to say. Like we got to get rid of the cliches, or you too blessed to be stressed, and you blessed, but throw that out the window. Elijah wanted to die. Jesus prayed and
suicide, right?
Right. He said to God, kill, and no, depending on some translations, kill me, let me die, whatever you want to say. Jesus prayed so hard that blood came out of his pores. Like, come on, y'all. Like if we're going to be real about these things, we got to understand the fact that this is what happened, and the Bible is true for whatever whatever we're going through. But we got to be sure that we're not overcorrecting for something that, for decades, even long before any of us were born, was almost taboo, and something that Black folk, and especially Black church folk, didn't want to talk about. And so that's my fear for where we are right now, but it doesn't mean that we don't do the work.
Yes. And so even thinking about what you were saying with Elijah, it sounds like what you're saying is there were people in the Bible who experienced mental health concerns. Is that what
Absolutely,
you're saying?
100%.
Oh, okay.
Jesus
through the Bible.
But
let's bring that out a little bit.
It's stories all
there
through the
were
Bible.
people that dealt with it, right? But even in Jesus's day, he made the distinction between unclean spirits, and the Bible makes the distinction between that and what we would perceive or understand now as mental health diagnoses or mental health concerns. So, but what we've done is lumped them all together, I think, to Jeff's point, and kind of misdiagnose things. And when you do that, you end up doing way more harm than good.
There's a big difference between clinical depression and just being stressed out that you got an unexpected bill. That's not depression. Just
Mm.
because you got an unexpected
Explain
bill
that.
doesn't
Yeah.
mean stop running around saying, "Oh, I'm depressed. I'm depressed." No, there's a big difference because I have patients who have diagnosed of clinical depression who can't even get out of the bed. You
Yes.
know, so yeah, there's a big difference.
Yeah, it sounds like what we're talking about is like a lack of education, right? So
Mhm.
that education that needs to be had within our church communities. I think oftentimes we forget the power of the Black church and the power that the Black church leader and pastors might have, because even when I was speaking about in the beginning of the show, Black pastors and Black church leaders, they're pretty much the gatekeepers of our community, and they have been for centuries, right? So even thinking back to that era of slavery. So therefore, if we're going to have these gatekeepers, we have to make sure that we are being educated with regard to things that are plaguing our communities. Black people do get depressed. Black people do get anxious. Black people commit suicide. Not saying that we can't, like we said, there you can have a therapist, a pastor, a like all these things can be encompassed at one. So you guys are just taking this conversation and running with it. I know we got about 10 minutes left, and I want to get to some more questions. So in what way has the Black church supported individuals who might be suffering from mental health difficulties, and how could we do better?
If I could speak from, so I attend Kingdom Life Church in Baltimore, and
Oh, nice.
my first lady, Dr. Anita, she's very good with incorporating God in therapy. So, she oftentimes, we have, Sunday service that's solely on mental health, mental illness, just bringing that knowledge to the church. And I think that's so important, what you touched on. I know
Yeah.
Rev said it earlier, and it was also stated in the article, but just because you deal with mental illness doesn't mean you lack any faith, and I think that's just so
Yeah.
important to reiterate from time to time, because oftentimes people need to hear it over and over and over again. Like, I'm
Yes.
not crazy, I'm okay, so yeah.
That's good. I attend the Life Church here in Richmond,
Yeah.
Virginia, with Pastor Vernon. And here, what we do, we have what we call life groups, and inside those life groups, we're able to tap in the emotional side of their Christian walk and the Christian journal. And we also have care teams where our elders and our ministers and some of our leaders, such as myself, are on that team and offering that extra care. If you need that one-on-one, but most importantly, what I feel what we could do better, I truly believe that every church should have some form of a mental health staff on their service, on their staff team. Just like they have an overseer for the budget and the money. If you don't have sound-minded people or emotionally well, strong people in your congregation, then they're not going to be able to give and tithe the way they need to, in the way that the Bible is calling us to give and tithe, because their mind is going to be clogged up with either the substance they're on, by they're self-medicating because of the stress that they're going through, or just dealing with emotional trauma outside of the church. And so if you want everything to connect, you do need someone on staff that work operates in the mental health field.
I
That's
think
so
you
good.
all hit on all of that. We just implemented that. We have a mental health uh,
That's
and
good.
wellness
Right.
Yeah.
ministry here. I've only been here
Oh.
at my new church for about 2 months, but I've known my the pastor here for pretty much all my life. And actually, my wife, who's a therapist and also works with the Black Mental Health Alliance, is the one who's leading this. It's called Perfect Peace, but more to that too, understanding Black issues, right? Like, no shade at
Yeah.
anybody else, but right, like when organizations like the Black Mental Health Alliance
Mhm.
calls on Black churches and Black leaders to speak to Black people and Black Christians about Black
Yeah.
issues that plague Black people,
Hmm.
let's go to Black people first. It's like the Roland Martin thing when he talks about, nobody wants to talk about Black issues in news, and he was like, hold on, I'm here. And here we have a Black institution and other Black people who want to make this change and be a voice for people. Let's not run to what's popular and to the names. No shade at anybody, but
Mhm.
let's keep it. We have a way that we talk to one another and a way that we talk about the things that plague us, where we don't have to try to explain how we say and why we say certain things as Black people, as Black Christians, as just for being Black and the issues that we deal with. So
That's good.
we're doing good, but I challenge all of us to do better. And everybody who's watching, don't skip out on Black people when somebody else may come calling, right?
Mhm.
Like, let's keep it in the family too.
Yep.
Stay there. Stay there. Yes.
That's the black. It's the black for me.
Yeah.
It's the black for
Listen,
me.
I
It's
got
the
on
black for
my
me.
black by popular demand shirt. It's still Black
Let's
History
go.
Month. So.
I love it. No, you guys are bringing up some great points, and even Reverend Bryce, as you were talking, what came to mind for me, I have a clinician friend, James Harris, who works with a lot of Black men, and he states that there's a difference between being culturally competent as a therapist and being of the culture, right? So you
Yes.
can learn in school, the way we talk, the way we like our experiences, all these different things. But when it comes to being a therapist or a pastor who is Black or of African descent, like we have a special way that we can relate to one another.
Yes.
We know about each other's experiences. So all great points, and I'm loving where this conversation is going. You guys are just making my heart smile because I really feel as though somebody is at home watching this who might be trying to figure out, what's my next step? How can I get help? How can I start to find a therapist or to work on my mental health? And because mental health may not be as talked about in their church, it might be a struggle for them. So I'm wondering if we can give maybe some tools and strategies for individuals who might be watching on ways in order to help manage mental health and to work toward their wellness journey.
I can start.
Go ahead.
So, okay, so I love talking about this, okay? So, for so going to therapy, I think, like you said, it's such I don't want to be judged, I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a friend today who was expressing to me, I just don't think I'm ready to open that side of myself yet, and that's okay. So for the people who might feel like that, one thing that I highly recommend is schedule your soul care. That's why I wear this shirt often. But what I mean by that is,
Like
schedule time for yourself. If that means, going to the park for 30 minutes a day just to sit and unwind, going for a walk, journaling, practicing affirmations in the mirror, things like that, like maybe start there, just setting that time for yourself. As
good.
far as, if you are interested, okay, I think I'm ready to start therapy, but I just don't know where to start. I recommend, maybe start with small events. Find maybe some events that are online or in your community. Find like some support groups. So my church, we also do have like life groups, like our millennial group. We talk about, just certain things. Having that support group is important. But then also, don't be afraid to ask someone to go with you. I know oftentimes when I refer people to therapists, they're like, well, could you come with me? I'm like, girl, I sure can. I can pick you up. I can drop you off. I can wait in the lobby with you. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I need help. And I know a lot of times in the Black community, it's like, I'm strong. I don't need nobody. It's the pride. But sometimes you just have to be willing and open and just say, look, I need you. And that's okay. And then one more tip I want to give as far as therapy, don't be afraid to shop around. If that therapist is not for you, they're just not for you. And as you're on your journey of healing and becoming, you need to find that person that is for you to help you get there. So don't be afraid to be like, okay, well, listen, I don't think you're helping me right now with what I need. So is it okay if maybe like, you help me find someone else? I know my therapist used to say that to me a lot in the beginning. Are you comfortable with me? I can refer you elsewhere. So I just wanted to share that.
If I could
I
add,
love that. Oh, great. Go ahead.
I was gonna say if I could add some more tips, it's two things, and this is gonna be so elementary. Just start light. Honestly, when I say start light, a lot of people look at therapy and going to a therapist and thinking that I have to explode all this negative things I have on me. When I say start light, just celebrate. Go there to celebrate stuff.
Yep.
Go there. You don't have to go to a therapist just to talk about the trauma that you've been through in your past. Go there to celebrate a promotion. Go there to celebrate a marriage. Go there to celebrate the birth of a new child. Because what happens is you're going to build a rapport with that counselor or that therapist. And then once you do that, it's going to be a lot easier for you to open up doing the trauma and doing the negative things that's going on in your life. So start light. Just go there to celebrate. Therapy is nothing but a spa for the soul. I say that all the time. And another thing, just like my friend just said, she said therapy, and again, what God Plus Therapy says, it doesn't look like you just coming to an office with me and a clipboard, laying on the couch like they do on TV. Therapy doesn't look like that. Therapy could be you in the kitchen cooking with your significant other. Therapy could be game night. There could be a girls' night out. Therapy can be you and your boys hanging around the bonfire talking about the Super Bowl. It's so many different forms of therapy, but the key is, again, you go back, you have to add God to it to get that faith, because he's going to direct you in the right way. Because we literally say, God, I have this depression after I prayed to you. Why do I still feel this depression? Why do I still feel this doubt? What's going on? And God's like, yo, I created a whole beach down the street. Go to the beach. It's a whole beach that I created down the street. Have a beach day. Have a beach day by yourself, and look what happens when you have that beach day. If I can be real quick, personal testimony. Just the other day, I called my wife and I said, I said, get the baby together. We're going to put a jacket on. We're going to go for a walk. She thought I was just doing it because the weather was nice. No, I was dealing with my mother's grief. I was grieving my mother. And I knew if I came home, I would have probably ended up emotionally drinking or doing something I would no need to be doing, self-medicating myself or something. And so instead, I said, get the baby together, put a light jacket on. We're going in the neighborhood and we're going to walk. That's therapy. I was able to overcome my grief and moment right now, embrace the moment, understand my feelings at that moment, and then able to do something to it just for a peace, to gain peace into my life or cultivate that peace in my life.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
That's so good, Jeff. Yeah. Rev, you got anything?
Listen, when the word has gone forth, you just let it be. So
you just let it be.
There's nothing left to add.
I hear you. I just wanted to make sure. Yes, no, you guys are bringing up some amazing points. And I think it's safe to say that we all agree that we can go to church and go to therapy afterwards.
Definitely.
It doesn't have to be either
you can
or.
Do it on the same
yes,
day if you
okay.
need to.
Right.
The same day.
Shout and fall
You
out
can do it on the same day
if you right in the car and go see your therapist.
Yeah.
Exactly. Shout and then go to therapy. Reverend
Go.
Bryce, I said the last time, deliverance after the altar is therapy. Listen,
therapy.
You can go to the altar. You can go to the altar. You can get delivered. You can pray about it. You can cry about it. All that is great. And also, we can also have those tools and strategies in order to help us to live a more productive and effective life. And it may be intimidating. It may feel like, I don't know what it's going to be like to go to a therapist. But just like Jeff was saying, once you get there, take those baby steps, it's going to feel natural. And I'm sure Jeff can attest to this. I've had clients who were really reluctant about coming to therapy, and now I can't kick them out. I can't discharge them because they're just so used to coming to therapy. They love it. Yes. Yes, exactly.
You got
so again, yeah. Listen, you guys have added so much value. I'm so appreciative of your time, and I'm sure that our listeners are appreciative of your time as well. So tell us what you have going on and how can our viewers find you, starting with Reverend Bryce.
Right now, like I said, I'm at a church called Millennium Bible Fellowship. If you look us up on Facebook, it's just Millennium, 2 L's, 2 N's, Bible Fellowship. You can follow me at Twitter. All of my social media is at RevBA Jones, Twitter, Instagram, except for Facebook. It's just Bryce Jones. We're doing a wonderful thing here, and I'm excited about it. I said I'm the chaplain for the Black Mental Health Alliance. The Black Mental Health Alliance has so many resources for people, including referrals to therapists, to what my sister Karina was saying about if you're looking for someone, if you're trying to start light, as Jeff was saying. There are plenty of referrals that the Black Mental Health Alliance does to get people in touch with therapists. My wife specializes in human resources, and as a preacher and soon to be pastor, I always tell people our responsibility is to connect humans to resources as well as a Black church. And so we also have those relationships with people where we can help out for that one. Our services stream at 10 a.m. every Sunday. But God bless you all, and I'll be looking for more things to help out, or just if somebody wants to say hi, that I'm cool with that too. But thank you all so much for today.
Yes, thank you so much. Love and appreciate you. So can you do me a favor and comment the Black Mental Health Alliance website inside of the comment section?
Absolutely.
So we can have that.
Yep, I certainly will.
Thank you. Perfect.
I'm actually subscribed to the Black Mental Health Alliance.
Me too.
It looks like I'm about to subscribe today.
Listen, might as well, bro. Might as well. But again, hello everyone. I am Shania Karina. founder of Karina's Place. You can find us on Instagram, on Facebook, on Clubhouse, on Twitter, okay? But what we do, again, we solely focus on creating safe spaces for people who deal with mental health on a day-to-day basis. We love having those uncomfortable conversations, literally from anything, okay? Um, so we do a lot of different things like events here in Baltimore. We do have an event on March 7th, okay, next Sunday. It is in person from 2 to 6 p.m. You guys can find that on my Instagram. And also just head to my website, check out some of the merch, okay? And yeah, that is us. So thank you again for having me on your platform.
Awesome.
Absolutely. I love that shirt too.
Thanks, sis.
Awesome. Oh yeah, okay. I guess I'm last. Jeff again, Cuthbertson. The perfect place to find God Plus Therapy is IG, Instagram. You can go there. That you will find every single thing that I'm doing. I am working on putting out a prayer book. But if you want to catch my prayers, I put a prayer up every single morning at 5:30, between 5:30 and 6, from Friday to Monday to Friday. Every single day, I'm faithful with it. Is when I do my devotionals, and it's actually my personal prayer to God, and it has been helping people out. God has not told me to stop doing it, so I continue to do it every day. I'm thinking about turning it into a book soon, so that's going to be soon, hopefully. Unfortunately, I am booked for March, so I'm not taking any individual sessions. It's a good
Come
thing,
on, booked
but
and busy.
I'm booked.
Listen,
Right.
I'm booked for March. But April is open, so feel free to reach out to me. My email is godplustherapy@gmail.com. So feel free to reach out. We can set some things up, get some sessions in. Let me help you be great. Let's take make you feel unbreakable. Let me help you feel unbreakable.
I love that. I
love
love
it.
that. Yes. And you guys know where you can find me on Instagram at paging Dr. Chanda. Do me a favor. If you have any show topics that you want us to cover, please shoot me a DM. I would love to feature that content on the Black Doctor Org platform. Those of you who were tuned in earlier, I asked you a trivia question. The question was, who was the first Black man to earn a PhD in psychology? And the answer is, y'all ready? Dr. Francis Cecil Sumner, also the father of Black psychology. So tune
Yep.
in next week, next Friday at 3 o'clock p.m. for more of the checkup with Dr. Chanda, the Dope Black Doctor, signing out.
Yes.
Peace, y'all.